Okay, good morning. It's the 30th of November, last trading day for November, and welcome to the morning debrief. Current time is 8:45. Well, what a volatile session we've had. I guess the last 24 hours of market time have been very exceptional, and I think a lot of the things that we've seen in the market we haven't seen for some time. It's worthwhile having just a quick recap of the events which have occurred. Obviously, Dubai had an outstanding debt. They asked for a reprieve in paying back the interest on that. Now that debt is roughly 1/10 the size of the Lehman problem, which obviously caused the GFC. Now the ramifications are still with us. However, what we have seen over the weekend is the UAE central bank has said that it will stand behind all the lenders and offer loan facilities. So if anything there, that's offering the market a little bit of surety as to what could actually occur. So if anything, the market's taking that on board as a bit of a good feel type of thing, and it could be quite interesting to see how the market initially reacts to it. The main concern we've had is that there's a lot of loans, particularly out of the UK, and also out of Eastern Europe. So those loans have thought to have been in jeopardy. The fact that they're obviously, look, we've got someone that's looking over them, will provide some comfort. Anyway, volatile night, yes, and the volatility is set to go. Particularly, we've gone high risk within our systems today, and so as I said, that's why we'll probably see some form of volatility and maybe a little bit more pressure. But let's see what happens. But I think the news by the UAE will help placate a lot of people. Okay, just general news. The Dow closed down 154 points at 10,000 and basically 10,000 and where we go, 10,309. That's down 1.48%. The market had anticipated close to 3%. The Australian market closed down 3%, so there might be a little bit of catch up back today. S&P down 19 at 1,091. The Nasdaq down 37, 2,138. So if anything there, quite negative. If you think the European session that followed that was also negative, and we were all anticipating a much larger fall, in Europe. Now we did obviously see it prior, but Europe actually came back as well. Just looking at the local market, the market for the SPY, 4,633. That was the bid last. And as you can see there, it's certainly come off its lows. So we'll be quite interested to see how it trades today. I actually feel it'll be quite steady, and this could actually represent, just when we look at the chart here, just a correction. Now, a couple of things which I want people to keep an eye on when they do look to trade and when they're looking for direction is obviously that's a high there. So if the market does happen to get above this area, again, then that could signal the next move higher. So for those going short, thinking this contagion will continue, then what I can suggest is to keep an eye on those levels. We are only about 10% off about 5%, 5% or 2.5% off the highs. So if it does get through this, then that will signal another buy. But at the moment, I think that let's just be steady. Only be in the market if you really have to. Some people are going to search for good opportunity down here. Just be cautious because that's the lower end of the range. And that's where a lot of people are thinking that she should go to. Okay, so you can see that there, 4,400 is a low. We're mid-range, those two areas. So I wouldn't get too upset unless we really broached either side. And I think that's the channel to look at. Okay, now that's more to do with what's happening there with the local market. But let's just have a quick look at what's happened to some of the other ones, particularly the currencies. Aussie's been an amazing mover. We've got RBA out tomorrow. Expectations there are for an interest rate increase, believe it or not. We actually feel that they wouldn't do it leading into Christmas, but certainly a lot of people are asking it. Now, this is the Aussie. That's the trend we've been following. Tried and tested. Tried and tested. Okay, and that's it there. Now, if it breaks back through that level, then we actually see it actually trade higher, and then that Aussie remains in its trend. But this is the blip we saw, and if in fact it's true what we're getting out of the UAE, then I think if anything there it could be a false move. But let's see what occur and how that'll occur. But as I said, that Aussie trading back above that trend would be bullish. Just hitting it and coming down suggests the bearish trend. We actually thought on Friday that it had broken that trend, which it did, which would mean that the Aussie can trade back through to 80. But let's give it a shot and see what happens. Gold was probably one of the biggest movers. There it is, gold, and she absolutely collapsed. And we had a low there of 11.36 before she bounced back again. So look, anything today could occur, but I think just be cautious there with what's happening with some of those metals. And I think we need more traction as to what's happening, obviously out of the Dubai. Okay, now just having a look at some of the other commodities. Just generally speaking, there was a major bounce back, although the crude, for instance, up 19 at 77.18. It was down, $2.45 in America, down at 76.05. Looking at some of the others, you saw cocoa. Cocoa was down about 48. Corn was up about 5.5. Wheat recovered nicely, only down 1 3/4 at 569.75, and Kansas wheat was down 4 at 559. Copper was down 7, closed at 312.55. It was exceptionally volatile. It got down to 300, then bounced off. We still have a bearish stance on copper at the moment, and might see a little bit of time before we see the woods through the trees on that. Gold, as we said, we're down 13, very large move, and silver down 46 at 18.33. So if anything, they're exceptionally busy on the commodity markets, and and I think it's going to be one of those days where it's going to be highly volatile. I guess you can sum it up quickly by looking at the US dollar index. Tried once again to break that top trend. This is what I do like about this chart. It is a track that's been trading, and we're hitting the top side, and we came right off it again. So it looks to be a well-preserved market, and the trend still is certainly entrenched. And so if anything there, let's just see how that little trade goes. But at the moment, you'd have to say the status quo is the same as it was before Dubai, but I think there'll be just a little bit more caution out there. Just a quick look at the calendar, and then we'll move on. Onto the calendar today for Monday. Right, nothing up there at the moment. That should come up pretty soon, so let's just leave that. But I guess in the States this week we've got quite a lot of news, and I think that's certainly going to make things quite interesting, particularly on the week. Now, remember, in Australia tomorrow we do have the RBA meeting, so the market will be looking as to what's going to occur there. In the States, I guess the most important things we've got is the factory orders, unemployment, productivity, which comes out later in the week. And apart from that, on Tuesday we've got construction spending. Tonight, a little bit ago, we've got Chicago PMI. But I guess if anything here, the most important ones will be the unemployment situation coming out on Friday night. Well, that's about it from us. Hope you all have a good time, and we'll certainly talk to you on the next debrief.